sexual desire in the Book of the Watchers, 1 Enoch 6-36, and the New Testament exhortation to sexual abstinence Rivka Nair. Open University of Israel. Abstract. This article claims that according to the Book of the Watchers in 1 Enoch, the sin of the angels is not only in copulating with the daughters of men, but also in bringing sexual desire to the world. Sex had already existed beforehand, but without sexual desire. This conception, which has parallels in the Qumran scrolls as well as in the Pseudepigrapha, influenced Christian tradition. In the anti-letters, the sin of the angels comes up several times, invariably in a sexual context, and Christian believers are presented as new angels who are called to put this sin to death. But the most explicit comparison of Christians to angels is provided by the Synoptic Gospels. For in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. Matthew 20-30 and par. The development of this Christian ideal is backgrounded by the tradition of the angels' sin in Enoch. Instead of the fallen angels who left heaven and brought sexual desire to the world, the new angels will utterly abstain from sex and sexual desire, and dwell in heaven forever. Thus, sexual abstinence is conceived as a means to eschatological redemption. Introduction. The Book of the Watchers, BW, is the first of 5 major sections which comprise the apocalyptic book of 1 Enoch. 1. Based on the biblical tradition about the fallen angels and their intercourse with women, Gen 6, 1-4. It describes the revolt by the heavenly watchers that leads to the evil and corruption of all men on earth and predicts their doom by God's judgment. 1. The 5 sections are, the Book of the Watchers, 1-36, the Book of Parables, 37-71, the Book of Luminaries, 72-82, the Dream Visions, 83-90, the Epistle of Enoch, 92-105. Jewish Thought 3, 2021, 9-34. Rivka Nair. The affinity between 1 Enoch and early Christian thought is well known. As George W. E. Nicholsberg writes, because the early church arose in the circles of apocalyptic Judaism, the Enochic texts and traditions were known and significantly influenced early Christian thought. Sometimes the knowledge of specific text was direct, in other cases, the influence was indirect. 2. In this article, I argue that the description of Christian believers as angels in heaven in the New Testament positions them as a replacement of the angels who sinned in the Book of the Watchers. Instead of the fallen angels who left heaven and brought sexual desire to the world, the new angels will utterly abstain from sex and sexual desire and will dwell in heaven forever. The fallen angels and sexual desire in the Book of the Watchers. It is no coincidence that, although the Book of the Watchers describes human procreation and childbirth prior to the descent of the angels, it makes no mention of sexual desire in this context. And when the sons of men had multiplied, in those days beautiful and comely daughters were born to them. BW 6:1. That procreation is disconnected from sexual desire until the descent of the angels is also evident in the description of the end time. Using the Erzeit typology, it reflects the age preceding the angel's sin and descent as a prototype for eschatological events of the end. Accordingly, after the destruction of all the passions, humans will be able to procreate without sexual desire, and now all the righteous will escape, and they will live until they beget thousands, and all the days of their youth and their old age will be completed in peace. BW 10:17. The story embarks from the premise that while the sexual act is natural to flesh and blood life on earth and essential for perpetuating to G.W.E. Nicholsberg, 1 Enoch 1, Minneapolis, Fortress Press, 2001, 82-83, E. Isaac, 1, Ethiopic Apocalypse of Enoch, in the Old Testament Pseudepigrapha, editor J. H. Charlesworth, New York, Doubleday, 1983, I. 9, A. Y. Reed, Fallen Angels and the History of Judaism and Christianity, The Reception of Enochic Literature, Cambridge and New York, Cambridge University Press, 2005, 122-129, 147, to 159. M. Barker, The Lost Prophet, The Book of Enoch and Its Influence on Christianity, Sheffield, Phoenix Press, 2005. 10. Sexual desire in the Book of Watchers. Human existence, its practice requires no sexual desire. The view that sex is strictly for procreation rather than pleasure was widely held throughout the Greco-Roman world. Thus, according to Plutarch, c. 46 to 120 CE, men should refrain from sowing seed from which they are unwilling to have any offspring.